Today on No BS AI Briefing, Mistral just bundled the hard parts of building AI agents into a new product called Workflows, and it might just change how we ship automations. We'll also cover DigitalOcean's new, simpler take on model hosting, why Google's Gemini is about to show up in 4 million cars, and a policy shock out of China that could snarl AI acquisitions for everyone. We'll break down what actually matters for you if you're building products right now. No BS AI briefing brought to you by Proactive AI. Welcome back. I'm your host, Vikash. All right, let's get straight to the headlines. There are 5 big moves this week, and they're all about AI getting embedded deeper into our infrastructure and tools. First up, DigitalOcean shipped its new Inference Engine. Look, for anyone who's tried to deploy a model on the big cloud providers, you know the pain. It's a world of complex MLOps, endless configuration files, and a build that feels like it needs a PhD to understand. DigitalOcean is aiming for the opposite. Their new Inference Engine is all about straightforward model hosting and serving. The goal here is developer-friendly deployment, not a whole new career in machine learning operations. For builders, especially at startups or SMBs, this is a big deal. It radically simplifies standing up inference endpoints for your prototypes or your early stage products. It could seriously lower your infrastructure overhead and let you move much faster without needing a dedicated infra team just to serve a simple model. Next, Mistral unveiled a new product called Workflows, and this one is important. We'll do a deep dive on it later, but here's the gist. Mistral introduced a system for building reliable orchestrated agentic pipelines. It's got native Python support, integration with a scheduling system called Temporal, and this is the key part, built-in observability. So what does that actually mean? It means they're trying to solve the nightmare of building multi-step AI automations. Instead of a mess of fragile scripts and glue code, you get a structured way to build, run, and debug agentic behavior. For builders, this is huge. It reduces the amount of plumbing you have to write, and the built-in visibility helps you figure out why your agent failed, letting you fix and scale it way faster. This is a move from demoware to production-grade tooling. Also in the news, Google's Gemini is coming to GM infotainment systems across a staggering 4 million vehicles. Now, we've had voice assistants in cars for a while, but it's mostly been through phone mirroring, plugging in your phone for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. This is different. GM is integrating Gemini natively into the car's own system. The focus is on system assistants that work seamlessly with the vehicle. Why does this matter? For one, it massively expands the surface area for voice and multimodal apps in the automotive world. But more importantly for us as builders, it raises the bar for what's expected. We're talking about a context where low latency, high safety standards and offline or edge reliability are non-negotiable. This isn't a website. It has to work instantly every time. It's a sign that Edge AI is becoming the default for critical user experiences. Then we have Anthropic, which just added a whole suite of creative app connectors for its model Claude. This is a fascinating move. We've seen connectors for services like Salesforce or Stripe before, but this is different. Claude can now plug into professional creative software. We're talking Blender for 3D modeling, Adobe's Creative Suite, Autodesk for engineering, and even Ableton for music production. It extends the idea of agents from just calling APIs to performing hands-on creative work. For anyone building tools for creatives, designers, or engineers, this is a signal. It enables agentic pipelines that can manipulate assets directly inside the Pro Tools people already use. Think about that. It dramatically shortens the path from a simple prompt to a piece of production-ready media, a 3D model, or an architectural plan. And finally, a big policy shocker. China blocked Meta's acquisition of Manus. This happened over the last couple of days, and it sent a real chill through the industry. Manus is a player in the AI space, and Meta wanted to acquire them, but Chinese regulators stepped in and killed the deal. The move reflects a much tighter oversight on any cross-border AI consolidation. This isn't just about Meta. For builders, this is a warning sign. It signals rising regulatory friction for any AI M&A or even major partnerships that have a global footprint. If you're a founder thinking about an exit, or an engineering leader planning a partnership, you now have to assume longer timelines and a lot more compliance work for any deal that even touches China. The geopolitical layer of AI is getting thicker, and it's starting to have very real business consequences. Okay, so out of all those stories, there's one I want to go deeper on: Mistral Workflows. I think this is easily the most important story of the week for anyone actually building products with AI, because it's not about a bigger, better model. It's about the boring, essential plumbing that lets us turn cool demos into reliable products. So, what exactly happened? Mistral launched Workflows, which is a toolkit for building AI agents that can perform multi-step tasks. But it's the specific components that matter. They've bundled Python execution, so your agent can run real code. They've integrated a tool called Temporal, which is a powerful system for managing long-running stateful operations. And crucially, they've built in deep observability, so you can see exactly what your agent is doing step by step. Now, why does this matter right now? Because for the last year, the world of AI agents has been stuck in what I call the demo trap. It's easy to chain together two API calls in a Jupyter notebook and call it an agent. It looks amazing on Twitter. But the moment you try to make that reliable enough for a real customer, the whole thing falls apart. It becomes a tangled mess of custom scripts, brittle logic, and zero visibility when something goes wrong. Ask any engineer who's tried to productionize one of these things. It's a nightmare. Mistral Workflows directly targets these exact pain points: the glue code, the fragile chains, the black box of why something failed. So, who should really be paying attention? Well, pretty much everyone. If you're a founder or a product leader, this means you can start planning agentic features with a much higher degree of confidence. You can move from saying, what if an AI could do this, to how will we build the AI that does this? Because now there is a structured path. If you are an engineering leader, this is a potential way to standardize your team's approach to automation. Instead of 10 different bespoke Python scripts, you can have a single runtime and a shared set of tools for tracing and debugging. And for indie hackers, this is a force multiplier. It lets a single person build automations that would have previously required a small team to make robust. Here's how I'd think about it as a builder. Remember the early days of the web? We had these clunky CGI scripts. Every developer had their own weird way of connecting to a database and rendering HTML. It was chaos. Then frameworks like Ruby on Rails or Django came along. They didn't invent anything new really, but they bundled the common pieces, the database connection, the routing, the templating, into a coherent, opinionated package. They made building robust web apps dramatically faster and more reliable. That's what Mistral Workflows feels like to me. It's the batteries included framework for the agentic era of software. It's a bet that the next big challenge isn't just model capability but operational excellence. And here's my no BS take on it. The hype around agents is that they're magical, autonomous beings that will just figure things out. That's not true. The reality is that they are complex, stateful programs that fail in weird and unpredictable ways. Mistral isn't selling magic. They're selling the dashboard, the logs, and the scheduler, the boring industrial grade tools. You need to tame that complexity, and that is far more valuable right now. The risk, of course, is vendor lock-in. When you build on workflows, you're buying into the Mistral ecosystem. But for many, that trade-off, giving up some flexibility for a massive gain in reliability and speed, is going to be a no-brainer. If you're finding this useful, hit follow in your podcast app right now. It takes 2 seconds, and it's the best way to make sure you don't miss the next briefing. Alright, so if you want one practical takeaway from today's episode, something you can actually try this week, here it is. Prototype a simple 2-step agent in Mistral Workflows. I'm not talking about building your next flagship feature. I'm talking about a 60-minute experiment to understand what this new class of tooling feels like, because it's fundamentally different from just calling a chat API. Here's how to do it. First, just go to Mistral's site and sign up for Workflows. Find their quick start guide or their Hello World tutorial. You don't try to be clever, just get the basic example running. Second, once you have that, modify it to do something tiny but multi-step. For example, have it take a block of text as input. Step 1. Call a tool to extract any named entities, people, companies, locations. Step 2. Take the first company name it finds and call another tool, maybe a simple web search or an internal API to get that company's website. The final result should just be that URL. Super simple. Now, here's the most important part. Run it. Then immediately go find the observability and tracing dashboards that Mistral provides. This is the whole point of the exercise. Look at the trace. You should see the entire flow laid out visually. You'll see the input, you'll see the call to the first tool, you'll see the structured data that came back, you'll see how that data was passed to the second tool, and you'll see the final output. Then try making it fail. Give it text with no company name and see what the trace looks like. Why is this specific experiment worth your time? Because it will shift your mental model. You'll stop thinking about agents as a magical black box and start seeing them for what they are. Deterministic, debuggable workflows, experiencing what production grade observability for an agent feels like will completely change how you scope these features for your own product. You'll start asking better questions, not just can an AI do this, but what are the failure modes? What should the retry logic be? And how will we monitor this in production? That's the shift from building demos to building products. That's it for today's No BS AI briefing. If this helped, follow the show in your podcast app and share it with one builder you know. And if you've got questions or topics you want covered, connect with me on LinkedIn and send them over. See you in the next briefing.